Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Try Socks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny. And holy crap, it was finally that day we've been talking about for the last how many years, Dylan? A while. And Jerome
So,
Powell, the Federal Reserve, finally cut rates for the first time. Let the TLT boys ride.
nice.
Yeah, it was a pretty
Um,
wild day, man. I wasn't
yeah.
watching the full kind of bar chart here like you, but I was curious what you saw.
So the data comes out at 2 o'clock, 1400. So obviously, before the rate cut, not the market. The market was thinking that there was going to be like halfway between a 50 BPS or 25 BPS.
Mhm.
Now we had done a video on the percentage chance that happening. It was really low. What was it?
Yeah, I want to say a 50 basis point by CME Fed watch tool was like 15-20% at one point not that long ago. So
Yeah,
not
like
not very likely.
recently. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had I got to confirm this, but I had read that this was the biggest surprise rate cut or rate change where the predictive value was this bad since 2009. I got to double check that. But yeah, so the data comes out here. We're just waiting. So it actually corrected immediately. No one knew what to do, and then this is where he starts talking. Okay, so it kind of went up, and kind of really, I mean, it wasn't crazy. It kind of ended back where it was. We ended on what's called a doji, which is essentially indecision. We did hit highs for very briefly, and then we closed right at this line. You can see this kind of perfect little trifecta, right?
Yeah.
Um, that means we have no idea what's going to happen. Not super helpful. The big three things he talked about were one, he is very impressed with the economy. He is not, didn't, I mean, he's a pretty straight shooter. He didn't seem worried about it. He also said that the odds of a recession pretty low, which I was kind of shocked by that. Also said there's most likely going to be more rate cuts this year, and there's only two more
Mhm.
meetings. So
Yeah.
they went pretty big. This is pretty surprising. They went pretty big, and there's at least going to be another 25 basis points minimum
Yeah.
because that's the smallest
Yeah.
cut you can do. So
I didn't really like dive into the SEP like projections yet because it's one of those every quarter they come out with their projections for the rest of the year and years into the future. But he did talk about the SEP projections basically showing at one point there were three rates cuts this year, and then it was one rate cut this year, and now it's back up to like at least three rate cuts this year, I want to say, and then all the way through the end of next year, you're looking at like 2%, 200 basis points in cuts through the end of next year is like now their, mean projection, if you will. One thing that's been very clear throughout this entire economic cycle, which is probably the first time I've ever watched one like really this in
yeah,
depth,
same.
is that they're always wrong. So
Yeah,
that's one thing we can be certain about.
constantly. He did
Yeah.
say that the days of like 0% interest or 0.5%, whatever they were at, are not going to happen anytime soon because
Hmm.
they're not at the 2%, they're near it.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of questions were brought up about the housing market, a bunch of questions on if this affects presidency. We've been saying this multiple times. This has nothing to do. They I don't know why everyone's so focused on that. It doesn't help either
Interesting.
administration. I don't know why people think like I know someone was saying there's never going to be a rate cut before an election. It's not
Yeah.
true. I don't.
Well, I think
That
they
has
were just
nothing to
looking at
do
a
with this.
historical precedent that there's almost never one at the September meeting before a
Yeah,
presidential
but
election.
that's a good example of an incorrect correlation. Like ice cream sales are higher in the summer. Wait,
Summertime.
what is that? Summer, and so are big storms. I don't know. That's a terrible example, but you know, it's
You need
it's
some
all
sleep,
about
buddy.
economic, huh?
You need some sleep.
Yeah, I do. I'm so tired.
Uh, yeah, I
It's all
didn't.
about economic situations.
Yeah, I say I didn't watch the video actually yet, but it was I saw a Dave Ramsey kind of video that got put out today saying that the timing of this rate cut is sus.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
so apparently he's a believer.
I know there's a couple senators who had written to the Fed saying, "Hey, we need 50." There were some that were calling for 75. I'm a little bit surprised, but we will see. It's going to be really interesting tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen in the market. The market doesn't know what's going to happen. We ended on Doji. We have no idea. We ended on Doji, just hit highs and then came back down. So we have no
Yeah.
idea.
Well, hey, the one thing we can tell you is that Powell believes in a soft landing still. Okay, that was
Uh,
confirmed today.
apparently. All right, guys.
Catch you next one.